Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with breaking news out of Nova Scotia, where a gunman went on a shooting rampage. Right now, police say 14 people are dead, including the suspect. The community is in shock and the Mounties are grieving the loss of one of their own. Constable Heidi Stephenson.
2 children have lost their mother, and a husband has lost his wife. Parents have lost their daughter, and countless others lost an incredible friend and colleague.
Police were first alerted to shots being fired at a home last night. That's where they found multiple victims. The gunman then apparently went to other houses in the area. Some were set on fire. And tonight we are learning the suspect was wearing what appeared to be an RCMP uniform and was driving what looked like a police car. But he was no Mountie. Our coverage begins with Ross Lord.
A trail of burnt-out vehicles and houses are just some of the grisly evidence of a shocking rampage that started overnight and continued for almost 13 hours along a stretch of small Nova Scotia villages.
We worried all night, not knowing what was going on with the police presence and the fires with no fire trucks.
Just before midnight, RCMP tweeted they were responding to a firearms complaint in the tiny village of Portapic, about an hour-and-a-half drive from Halifax. They told the public to stay in their homes with doors locked. 8 hours later, RCMP said they remain on scene in an active shooter investigation, repeating the order for residents to stay inside and lock their doors. They then identified the suspect as 51-year-old Gabriel Wortman, and that there were several victims. By late morning, they tweeted Wortman may be driving what appears to be an RCMP vehicle and wearing an RCMP uniform. A short time later, they reported Wortman was driving a small SUV traveling southbound on the Trans-Canada Highway. After clarifying their suspect was not a member of the RCMP, they announced they'd taken him into custody. In fact, Wortman is dead. He died after a confrontation with police at a gas station near the Trans-Canada.
At one point during the course of the evening hours, he appears to have been wearing, if not all, then a portion of a police uniform, and that we believe that he was driving at one point a mock-up or a vehicle that was made to look like an RCMP police cruiser.
RCMP say his murder spree left multiple people dead, including a female RCMP officer. A male officer was shot and drove himself to hospital.
We are all in shock that such a thing could happen here in Nova Scotia. And it is a heavy burden to bear on top of COVID-19.
My hearts go out to everyone affected in what is a terrible situation. I want to thank the police for their hard work and people for cooperating with authorities.
Wortman was a denturist. He worked out of this office in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Sources say he owned property at Portapic Beach, although he was not well known among people who lived there.
My sister knew him because he's a denturist, and she just had new teeth made by him, and she thought he was salt of the earth.
A big question: what changed that forced people to cower in their homes all night, hiding from a killer?
You're locked down in your own little house, and yeah, it's pretty scary.
It's something it's not going to happen here, but it happens.
It took hours for the RCMP to say that 14 people have been killed, including the suspect. They had to retrace the suspect's every move. They had to see what other crime scenes there might be in other communities before coming out with that increased death toll. Robin.
Ross Lord in Halifax. Thanks, Ross. We continue our team coverage with Mercedes Stephenson, who has been talking to the head of the RCMP, Commissioner Brenda Lucki. Mercedes, what was her response to the suspect having a uniform and a car that looked like it was police issue?
Well, Robin, like everyone else, she was astounded by how authentic the car looked. She told me that she didn't think that she would have been able to tell what that car was and that it wasn't real if she saw it on the street. And I've heard that from a lot of RCMP officers who've taken a look at the picture, that it looked extremely realistic. She said that she's absolutely stunned and deeply saddened by what has happened. I asked her if she's ever seen an incident like this before in her career, and this is what she told me.
Personally, I have not, and I hope to God I never see another one. Just a senseless type of event like this, where innocent people are being killed. There's just no words to describe it at this time.
It really is a stunning case. What about where this investigation is at now and the possibility there could be more victims?
Well, Robin, right now they are out scouring the various scenes looking for more. The commissioner told me that they are looking at vehicles at multiple properties, trying to figure out if there might be more victims in this really unprecedented case for Canada. We spoke a little bit about what the investigation looks like, and this is what she told me.
It's just an extremely dynamic situation that covers a large area with multiple scenes, buildings, vehicles. So there's going to be a lot of work ahead of us to get some answers.
Now, Robin, a lot of people are asking, what is the motive in this case? And right now we don't know, and neither do the police. Commissioner Lucky says that they're still trying to figure out what happened. At this point, they believe there's possibility that this started with one motive and at some point shifted into something more random, but they really don't know. They're trying to get as much information about this man as they can. They will comb through his computers, his social media, any information that they can get, but still everyone in shock at how realistic his uniform and car looked, and questions about that, whether or not that may have aided him as he was on the run from police. But certainly police all across the country are absolutely reeling with this tonight.
Mercedes Stephenson in Ottawa. Thanks, Mercedes.
The new series that goes inside the COVID-19 pandemic from the front lines.
We're still in a very critical stage of Canada's COVID-19 epidemic.
To the everyday heroes helping us cope with the unprecedented change.
We want to help because there's a desperate need.
We shouldn't fend for ourselves. We have to all come together and help each other out.
Coronavirus, the new reality. A Global News special, Sundays at 7 on Global.